Well, a very good afternoon to you all from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Lexington, Ohio, just about an hour north of the CMH, Columbus, Ohio metro area. This is the World Racing League, and this is DriversEye Live. Happy to have your company, as always, for our second ever Friday bonus qualifying coverage here at the World. It's Brendan Kazmarek. I am joined this afternoon by Ryan West. Good afternoon.
Hello! How's it going, man?
All right. I tripped over afternoon. Not used to the old Friday bonus GTO, GTU, and general production qualifying.
The mega
some have called it mega pole. Yeah, some have
lots
called
of people are saying it. I don't know about that, but lots of people are saying it.
Yeah, you wouldn't know, being that you were the one that coined the term in the first place. But we are at Mid-Ohio. It's a lovely spring day, probably the last we're going to see of this weekend, unfortunately. Plenty of rain to come over the next 2 days, especially tomorrow. I think we're really in for something of a challenging 8-hour enduro to kick things off. But before you can race, Ryan, first you must qualify. And that's exactly what we do here. For the first time, for the first season, anyway, the World Racing League moving towards standalone qualifying sessions. In some ways, it assists with getting cars teched and making sure that all the cars are in a legal qualifying condition rather than extending it out over the course of a full day like we used to do. We get a nice half-hour grind for the pole in GTO and GTU, and then we get to do it all again a little bit later on this afternoon for GP1, 2, and 3. Jordan Worth is on the ones and the twos. Ryan, you're in a commentary booth, but not with me here at Mid-Ohio. Join us a little further afield this weekend.
Yes, indeed. I am at the God's racetrack, God's favorite place on earth.
They call it Heaven on Earth, I think.
They call it Heaven on Earth. That's what it's called. Yeah, that one.
Yep.
I haven't done any research on this place, obviously, because I'm not calling the race here. So
sure.
I'm just completely cold on all of this. This is going to be terrible.
Okay.
If you've joined in, I'm sorry in advance. Perhaps you have something else to do. I'm sure there's an NBA game on. You watch that, you know?
Perhaps. Perhaps. GTO and GTU this weekend, actually pretty close in terms of entries. I think we're 10 GTU cars, 11 GTO cars. So just about half of our 43-car field this weekend will be made up of the Grand Touring cars. GTO, of course, is the, let's call it a GT4 adjacent category.
Sure.
Something in that performance window on 200 treadwear tires. The GTU category, these Sebeco NP01s make up the bulk of the field, headed into the keyhole turn. There are those two Stratus Racing entries. Plenty more of those NP01s this weekend, as well, I believe, as the 739 Racing Ligier. I have to confirm that, but the Ligier JS2R is certainly here.
Well, the JS2R is the sedan thing.
The GTO car, right? Yeah,
right,
yeah.
and then there's the JSP4, which is
correct.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that car is here this weekend.
Okay.
It is this week here this weekend. I just haven't seen it on track as yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, as we said, dry qualifying session today, half an hour, 4 minutes and 31 seconds gone now. We don't have a timer in the upper left-hand corner of the screen because timing guru Dave McDaniel has not enabled the timer and race monitor. Dave.
What an abject failure.
Dave does well. We like
Hashtag
Dave.
Cancel Dave.
No.
We
need
okay.
Dave.
Okay.
Dave is.
Awkward.
We like Dave.
Sorry.
Yeah,
we do like Dave. Dave is one of the good guys in racing. There's a lot of
saying.
them. People are saying he's a fantastic guy, great American, great. And what's a pretty good paddock of people in WRL, frankly. Dave is a bright and shining star.
Yeah. And this is maybe his moment to shine with half-hour rapid qualifying session. We've got a couple of times in already. You would expect maybe a fresh set of 200 treadwear tires, mostly Bridgestones on the GTO cars. Mostly Yokohamas on the GTO cars, although there is some variation there. The GTU pole sitter at this time, Stratus number 60. I think is one of the only cars to have not taken a win yet this season in GTU out of the Stratus stable. 130. Did we get one back at...
They've come close a lot.
Okay.
I think they may have got one.
All right. Anyway, they sit on the provisional pole, 2 seconds clear of the Stratus number 58. It is a 1:30.423 is your provisional pole time. Your GTO pole sitter at the moment, Toyota R&D Racing.
Yeah.
It is a Toyota Supra, that team based up out of Michigan, so something of a home race for that squad. We've seen them before with that Toyota Supra, but important to note, that is not a GT4 spec Supra. That is a road-going
road car.
Yeah, Supra that's been built up into GTO spec before really the GT4 car was even a thing.
Absolutely, and we've speculated about this oftentimes, and I feel like I got answers at one point. I don't remember what the answer was. That there may have been some amount of collaboration between the GT4 folks and this car, given that they were racing the car in anger, before that GT4 car was finished. Of course, this weekend, officially, as of yesterday, Toyota announced the final edition of the Toyota Supra on sale for the 2026 model year. So the sun beginning to set on that chassis, just as people are starting, I think, to move back towards the BMW chassis in the first place. I'm really, really interested to see moving forward what the car selection is going to look like, given some of the economic headwinds that some manufacturers may currently be facing.
Set your race monitor to sort the right way there, Ryan. You want to make sure it's sorting by fastest lap at the moment. I've done that now. Toyota R&D Racing been usurped off the pole position by the Round 3 Racing number 70. That's the Porsche 911 991.2 GT3 Cup.
Yep.
More numbers and letters are available, but just went through your shot there, headed down towards turns 4 and 5. The entry to madness with the reprofiled China Beach. Our first look, anybody's first look at that corner in anger or racing action. Spent a good portion of the offseason moving Earth, quite literally to backfill what was a very off-camber runoff up over the edge of a berm. Obviously, we've seen a number of accidents there over the years, but that's all been filled in. It's a very, very deep gravel trap with big tire wall and brand new catch fencing on the backside there as well to bring it up to, it's not a grade 1 facility, but I would say that it's meant to meet the same specification there. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see later in the weekend when we get a chance to have a couple of interviews, just how much that reprofiling has actually changed the way you attack turn number 4. It's difficult to tell when you're standing trackside and looking through just miles of new catch fence, by the way, whether or not that the camber has changed there, whether, you've got to brake earlier, you can't go quite as deep into the braking zone. It's a little bit difficult to tell, but I'll be interested to hear from maybe somebody like Cole Lofsgaard or somebody, driver or team that's here every year, just how different that turn 4 area is. You see the fresh pavement there all the way up halfway to turn number 5.
And that's going to be a completely new grip situation if the rain comes to pass here in a couple of days. A new surface tends to be a little bit more on the slippery side. So you're already in a situation where you've got low grip, trying to get the car turned, down from a pretty high speed. And the pavement transition is very sudden. So I think you're going to have people getting caught out a little bit on the pavement change there. But I can't decide if I think this is better or worse for self-recoveries.
Well, my guess is it's going to be slightly better, although the gravel comes all the way up to the edge of the track, so maybe not. Yeah, there really isn't a grass strip or a paved strip there where you can kind of, like you said, self-recover and not have to call upon the Mid-Ohio safety team, Montrose safety team, I think it is. We'll kind of see how that pans itself out. You can see off in the distance, just to the right-hand side of the timing pylon, where the pavement changes. It's about halfway through the braking zone, which is a lousy old place for a grip change, I have to say. And having put cameras out in the turn 4 braking zone just about 45 minutes ago, it's a very smooth, kind of rubbered in braking zone. So it's a little bit grittier offline, but man, when you are standing on the racing line where all that rubber's been laid down, you can really feel just how billiard table smooth it is. And, that being the highest speed portion of the racetrack with potentially up to an inch of rain coming during the 8-hour race tomorrow. I think that's an area of the track where I mean, nobody has any experience. So we're all going to be learning, I think, in real time how much grip is going to be available as you make your way towards madness.
Brendan, do you have a good and new set of Continental tires on your CX-5?
You know, I did buy a set of tires, but I don't remember what I put on.
That is
I was going to put a set of Goodyears on, and they didn't have them. I might have gone Continental. Maybe Hoosier?
Can't talk about that. I don't think Hoosier makes a tire appropriate for your vehicle.
That's probably right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
All right.
It might be Continental. You know, look. Yes, yeah. Man who commentates 200 treadwear endurance racing for a living doesn't know what tires he put on his vehicle. Amazing.
I mean, who among us actually keeps track of that? People who buy tires very rarely actually care.
Fair.
Tire that goes on their car. But that gives you even more reason that you should ask for Continentals by name, because the person at the tire place will gladly find you whatever it is that you ask for. And if you're in such a situation, you should just ask for the ones that are supporting what we do here on the racetrack.
Ding, 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 ding. No, not anymore. But the Continental tires will feature a little bit later on in GP1 and 2 qualifying.
Yep.
We'll get the half-hour session out of the way, do a 35-minute HPDE/extra practice, not included in the entry fee, but available for race entrants, and do it all again for the production cars. Coming up towards halfway in GTO GTU qualifying, it's still Stratus 60 leading 58, with the 59 car there in third.
Good shot here. Love it. Nice. Either you've disappeared or I've disappeared.
No. We're both here. We're
okay.
Setting up live timing here on the extra monitor.
Gotcha.
There we go.
I would love it if we could have the predictive lap time thing like they had on NASCAR on ESPN. I think it was ESPN qualifying. Jordan will know what I'm talking about, where it was like a little bar at the bottom and it would move back and forth. It was on speed. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it was. What do they call it? It was a tracker or some kind of tracker. Yeah. The pace chase.
Pace chase. Wow. Anyway,
we're not that good as branding at branding. The only thing we've come up so far is Megapole.
That's good branding.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I like it.
It's great branding.
Stratus number 59 there in third. Round 3 racing is the first of the non-Stratus Sebeco NPO1s. Sebeco, sorry. We'll get there eventually. NPO1s, fourth place in GTO ahead of the 909 automatic racing Sebeco, and then we repeat the round 3 in automatic cars, number 1 and number 908 in P6 and P7. Heraflight Racing finally sets a time 1:37.547, goes shotgun on the GTU field for the moment. GTO still the round 3 racing. Porsche, the AOA racing number 74 BMW M4. It's the G82. Second place outside of the GTO front row at the moment, 0.3 of a second in arrears of that round 3 Porsche, which is quite good actually, given the amount of development we know has gone into that Porsche. The BMW G82 is a very capable platform as well, but maybe more impressive is that Toyota R&D Racing non-GT4 Supra there, right in third, up the back of the number 70 and 74, within just about a half a second of the class pole.
You know, people were saying... Go ahead.
They have been. We have been, actually.
No, people have been saying that GTO isn't a builder's class anymore. People have been telling me that. That
might have been me.
Unfortunately,
mostly
that doesn't seem to be the case.
Mostly just trying to find a way to differentiate for the viewer, the uninitiated. But it has kind of gone that way. But that Supra's been in development since at least 2020 was, I think, when we saw it debut down at Circuit of the Americas, at least on a DriversEye live broadcast.
And I'm sure they were working on it well before that. They probably got that as soon as it was available. Like, I would be willing to bet money that that's a pre-production demo unit.
You think so?
Yeah. Because that's what you do, is you give all of those cars to your in-house research guru people to mess with on the track. That's where those cars go. So I would be willing to bet that has a goofy VIN.
That team was Arizona-based for quite some time.
It was.
Yeah. In any case, that Supra sits just up ahead of the number 91 FPRS Motorsports Ford Mustang GT4. That is Ford Performance Racing School. Just the one car here this weekend, at number 91. 2 seconds in arrears of the number 90 Supra. LML Racing, the number 78. That is, Mr. West, a Pontiac GTOR.
I saw that.
Which I'm fairly sure has been, is the same car that was acquired from the Matt Connolly Motorsports stables. Pride of Hellertown, Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, the old TRG livery has gone with it, and it's now bright orange and blue.
Was there not an orange one in period that was not a TRG car?
Not that I remember, but it's possible. What are the chances 2 different organizations decided to run the GTOR?
I mean, pretty good because it's all prep
yeah,
2,
but
right?
most of the GTORs became the GXPs. It was the same chassis, they just did bodywork.
Yeah, I guess so.
So the fact that there was a GTOR at all is a little bit shocking.
Yeah, all right.
But, I mean, the Connolly stables did have a few of them, so...
Right.
You know, Pride of Hellertown, Pennsylvania, and also the final resting place of Pontiac, apparently. But top 5 at the moment in GTO for that number 78, the Camburn Performance, number 178, not giving us any opportunity for confusion whatsoever with the Janetta G55 right up into onto the 3rd row in GTO. Rooster Hall Racing, the number 846 BMW, also not a GT4 spec car. Actually, we're pretty limited on the GT4 cars this weekend.
We're starting to pump the brakes a little bit on that, which I like to see.
You do. And, you know, interestingly enough, Ryan, it's the GT4 cars that, when the entries start to thin out a little bit, in GTO in particular, we lose the GT4 cars first, and the built cars, or let's say I guess in the GTO case, the historic cars, such as it is now, tend to stay. Which is
are you saying
cool. Gives us that variety.
That in endurance racing, when there's kind of a fallow period, that the big factory built cars go away and the privateers are suddenly thrust into the spotlight?
Some are saying that, you know, the gentleman drivers are the core of sports car and endurance racing.
Is Toyota R&D Racing basically being run by Henri Pescarolo this week?
That I think it's Jacques Nicolet now. But yes,
sorry, you're right. Yeah, it's Jacques Nicolet.
Yeah,
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Wow, real ones, no, I guess.
Hey man, I was excited to see a LMP, or I'm sorry, a DPI car here this weekend at VIR. There is. I think that might be the Camburn Performance 178.
Good call, Jordan. I'm not sure if Jordan was on commentary at that moment, but he wasn't. Yeah, very far right side of the screen there. Just with the nose in whatever gravel trap exists at the bottom of Madness. Nose first towards the tire wall, but I don't think he's made it quite that far.
No, it looks like he's stuck in the sand because you can see it try to get some momentum there. This might be curtains on the qualifying session.
It might be. We're 19 minutes gone now. Black flag is out.
Yeah.
Has not been reflected over on Race Monitor yet, but the starter does have the black flag in hand. 11 minutes to go pull this car out and get the session restarted is not out of the realm of possibility. The issue is anybody going to want to go out now that we've got 3, 4, 5, in some cases up to 8 laps on tires in GTO, 11 laps for the Stratus number 58 in GTU. Yeah, I'm not sure that there's going to be much left to do there. It is worth noting that in GTU, the Stratus 58 has jumped the 59.
Yep.
And now sits on the outside of the front row. Just a half a tenth of a second clear of the Stratus 59. Round 3 racing, number 10 still leads the 909 in 4th place and 5th place.
So, this yellow car, is this the 247?
It's the 908, Ryan.
It's the 908.
Yeah.
So you telling me that the 908, a historic sports car number, in terms of model anyway, is now the banana boat?
Well, it's yellow, I think, because the old second automatic Aston Martin was also yellow.
Right. But it's a yellow, it's an all yellow prototype.
Sure.
Which makes it the banana boat.
Does this mean we need an all yellow Peugeot 908 in historic racing?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah. All right.
That would be a top tier meme car to show up with to like HSR.
That's so many layers. It's so many layers.
Yep, we're doing it. And
Yeah,
then a completely different fuel sponsor as well, not Total, like Sunoco branding on it.
Does the No, it's
And this
VP.
is the schedule.
VP is the IMSA partner, right? So
Yeah.
it's
And
VP.
this is the schedule.
VP is the IMSA partner, right? So
Right.
it would need to be have to be VP.
Yeah. So apparently they have to have that fuel made by like a chemical company because it doesn't just use real diesel. It uses some weird engineered liquid that's like $10 a gallon or some nonsense. Actually, it was more than that. I'll have to find that article. I'll dig that out at some point. That'll be a nice fun fact.
I think we've got checkers on the qualifying session, Ryan. Up in the upper left-hand corner, it does say finishing.
Yep, I did call it.
Yeah, Jordan had the schedule up there for a moment.
He did.
Pull that up now that we've wrapped up the, 2/3 of the half-hour qualifying session. Anyway, we are at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It is spring, technically, and today it feels like it, but...
It has sprung.
The grass is raised.
Of course, so we've got...
where the flowers is.
Next time out, we're going to be at Road America, and then June 6th and 7th, Ryan's going to be making his return to WRL at Daytona International Speedway.
Public service announcement. If you're planning to attend the WRL at Road America weekend, first, exciting things to come in terms of name, and we're leaning into it hard. We're going to really...
brands.
That's right. Bratwurst brands in some cases. But that weekend... If you haven't booked your Airbnbs, houses, hotels, etc. for that area that weekend, consider doing that. We learned recently that is the same weekend as the NFL draft, which is taking place in Green Bay. So, I mean, there's an hour buffer there, but the Kettle Moraine is also a popular area. So maybe go take a look at Airbnb if you need a place to stay in about 3 weeks up there in Wisconsin. And then a good-sized break through the month of May. Traditional month of May, obviously, before we go down to Daytona International Speedway for the 14-hour. They're at the beginning of June. And we go to many more places after that, Ryan.
Road Hotlanta.
Yeah, Michelin Raceway Road Hotlanta.
Yep.
High Plains Raceway, Utah Motorsports Campus for the West Coast Swing. And the Mountain Coast Swing.
Some would say that I was taken off of WRL duty for calling it Hotlanta.
Is that true?
Some people are saying it. Some are saying
don't believe I've ever said that.
I hear Layla talking or laughing in the background as well, which makes me feel better about my joke decision.
It's good.
High Plains, Utah. Again, you can leave your cars at High Plains if you're a WRL entrant. You can leave your hauler, you can leave your everything there, and just fly back in, drive your trailer on up the freeway there. I don't think it's a straight shot. I think you have to cut over. So there's not one freeway, but I've done that pass. That's lovely, lovely drive.
Sure.
And then it goes right back into October 17th and 19th, Watkins Glen International. Home of also sausages, question mark?
Cheese, also cheese.
Oh, also cheese. So maybe that should be a trophy that we give out, is the Cheese Cup.
No, that's already a thing.
What, that you add the points from Road America and Watkins Glen?
No, the Cheese Capital Cup is the Trans Am event at Road America.
That's I do remember you telling me about.
However, we do have to award the very first inaugural Bratwurst Brawl Trophy.
Excellent.
Yes. More to come. Some graphics, even some might say. I like this idea though. If we could get it's wine and cheese country at Watkins Glen, right?
Right.
Yancey's Fancy is based out of upstate New York, isn't it? I think so, yeah. Yeah. Watkins Glen and the cheese and sausage trophy. I don't know. We could.
There's an angle there.
Yeah.
There's got to be an angle there.
Yeah, I like this idea. Mini series abound. None of them are official.
Midwest Championship, Mountain West Conference Championship, August, September, obviously. Bring back Mountain West.
Yeah. I mean, well, they kind of are. It's just called the Pac. It's going to be called the Pac-12.
Yeah, that really tripped me out watching the March Madness, and you see the banner at the Chase Center. It's NCAA San Francisco, brought to you by the Pac-12, and I'm like, the what? The what now?
Technically.
Pac-12 Network's still hiring, as it turns out. I'm really curious. I don't know if I want to get myself involved in that, but I'm
DriversEye Live buy the assets of the Pac-12 Network?
We only want to buy that one truck that has all the bad equipment in it.
Yeah.
That has it in 720i, awful cameras. Whatever that truck is, I want that one.
Then we wrap up the season at Sebring and, of course, Circuit of the Americas.
Yes.
This graphic will make more appearances throughout the course of the weekend. I have no doubts.
Dimitri's 16 hours presented by
Dimitri. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, there we go. Presented by
finest.
Blue and Red beverages.
Were there red ones? I just remember the blue one.
No, I drank a blue one, and I said, great, I'll have the red one next. And I drank that one.
Within seconds.
At the bar. Yeah.
I couldn't see the drink long enough, Ryan, to be able to tell what it was.
You
ordered it, and it was gone. That's fair.
It was alcohol with blue 4 in it.
Dimitri's in a cool spot.
Brendan the whole time pulling the oh, you're not savoring the flavor. Like, oh, I'm not savoring the flavor of blue curacao and bottom shelf vodka. Okay.
You know, Ryan, it's a very valid point.
What are we talking about? It's 80% ice. Like, let's just get her done. Incredible.
Christopher Rollo in the chat says that the GTO is the sister car to Matt's. So apparently there are 2 Pontiac GTORs. Matt commonly has one, and then that orange and blue one, I guess, is the other one. So
the whole Maltro safety Pontiac.
It's pretty close. Yeah. It's a very similar shade of orange. The blue is very different in that the whole Maltro cars don't have any blue.
Right.
Fundamentally different color.
So we're doing some track cleanup here. I want a big shout out to National Rental Car for not penalizing me on my rental when I was blasted by the jet dryer at Miami about a month and a half ago. National Rental Car are the real MVPs. Shout out to them.
Were you concerned about it?
A little bit.
Because
I think he turned it down when he went by me, but I was trying to take that camera off of the one that points back down into the last part of the lap. Mm-hmm. I was trying to either take those down or put them up. And homie drove he drove clockwise, I guess, so counter race direction with the dryer, came up onto the banking, and I think he turned it down, but still just machine gunned the side of my rental car with the jet dryer.
The rubber. Yeah. What are you going to do? Homestead Miami Speedway for WRL when?
That's such a long tow for a lot of teams.
It really a lot is. Of teams. I don't see it working out at all.
I don't either,
actually.
Sebring is there, but that's getting pretty far for people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You'd have to have people with no life commitments and then do the events on back-to-back weekends, I think, for it to be worthwhile for anybody.
So here's the deal. I was thinking about this the other day.
That's a tough one.
I haven't run this by RJ yet, so this is not an official take. This opinion is purely my own and does not reflect that of WRL, DriversEye Live.
Sorry, Ryan. Where is all that dust coming from?
Is that from when he came back and off the keyhole? I don't know.
This is all the way down at the keyhole.
Right, yeah.
That's a tremendous amount of dust.
Indeed.
Huh. Oh, I wonder if it was the blower was exiting the course there at the keyhole, but didn't shut the blower off. Okay. So it was right up against the gravel trap.
Well, anyway, to round that out, you could go to silly tracks like that. And the way that you would do it, again, this is my opinion and not that of DriversEye Live, WRL, the SCCA, Continental Tire, Discovery Parts, whoever does who's the communication sponsor?
Do we have one?
Yeah, that brings the little trailer. Anyway, this is not their opinion, but if you did a WRL race for the chase for the Cup, you could basically require people to go to Miami. You do a Sebring and then Miami, and it's but if you want to go to COTA, you have to do the Miami race. Or you know what? If you want to win the championship, you got to go to Miami because that's part of the chase.
Just briefly to interject here.
Sure.
Are we going into podcast mode in between sessions? Are we just going to grind this out, or are we going to... all right. Yeah, all right. Yeah, this works for me. Okay, so having wrapped up the first qualifying session, results will be available shortly, but they obviously haven't changed since the last time we ran them down.
Yeah.
With 19 minutes gone, we did not get to complete the last 11 minutes of the session. Checkered flag was thrown as we recovered that Cambered Performance Engineering Janetta G55. Anyway, we go back into podcast mode. Please do stay with us if you want to hear us talk about WRL and endurance racing and things of that nature over the next
all the good things
45 minutes or so before we get to GP1 and 2 qualifying let me do the math here, 2:15. Does that sound about right?
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, 2:15. Anyway, does it make a difference if to people towing if the series were to go to the F1 circuit?
I don't think I was let in on some of the numbers involved with running at the F1 circuit, and I don't think it's even remotely in the ballpark.
Well, so who's the target audience then for running that event or running at that venue? Like, is it literally just Ferrari Challenge and things like that?
Porsche Cup, and I was told what the entry fee is for the Porsche Cup race there. And I was appalled.
Well, but
that people are spending that. Like, it's going to be more expensive because it's at the F1 track. Like, I understand that. I get it. I'm sure the Mobile Line Super Cup at Silverstone is probably expensive too. But like, it was obscene the amount of money that was involved in an entry for that. I am curious because I guess. Thank you, Greg, for bringing me water. Oh, he brought me 3 waters. What a gentleman. Oh, okay, I got you. So he just put me on notice that one of those is for him.
Friend of Driverseye Live there, Greg Ginsburg.
Greg Ginsburg, yep. Also setting things up and doing work
5G.
today.
5G.
Yeah, 5G, yep. Layla says hi to 5G, by the way. He says hi to Layla. Hi to Layla at home. Or at the track, as it were.
At Mid-Ohio, yeah.
At Mid-Ohio. Hi to Layla at Mid-Ohio. Anyway, it's for the Ferrari Challenge crowd, I genuinely believe. Like, there's no chance. I think WRL would have a better shot at getting a session at Long Beach than they would at that Miami track.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. The Las Vegas street circuit.
Oh my.
But like, what's the point of leaving the track up then? Like, if you say, okay, we're going to leave the track up for 9 months out of the year or whatever, so it's not running during, Dolphin season or football season.
Well, they're doing Formula E a month before
Speedway.
or something.
That's it.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's at the. Is it really? I thought it was at the F1 track.
Yep, because we've broadcast events from SCCA.
Yep.
Florida region on DriversEye Live. I get worker emails.
Okay, got it.
And they are still looking for corner marshals at the Formula E at Homestead Miami Speedway. Big 1998 FIA GT vibes there, with running major international races in Homestead.
At Rovals. Let's have Formula E do a Roval tour. A Roval tour.
WRL Roval tour. Come on.
I think WRL should do a season of Rovals and street circuits. They should do Baltimore, Nashville, Miami, Belle Isle, Long Beach, Charlotte Roval, Miami Roval, Daytona.
We tried Charlotte Roval, to be fair.
Who says no?
Everybody.
That's a hell of a schedule.
Has anybody in the chat said yes? Devin427 Racing, hello to my favorite racing series. Would it still be your favorite racing series if we only ran Rovals and street courses? People are asking.
I don't know. I'm being looked at as if I should be responsible for the PA, and I don't even remotely know what the announcements are going to be for this.
That's a Ginsburg.
Yeah, which is the direction I pointed, but then I was told that he left. Oh, there he is.
Ah.
Greg, I think they would like you to do the PA announcements. All right, cool. She was indicating to me for me to do it, but I was like, no, thank you. Anyway, I'm not the yes.
Devin427 Racing loves street courses, so sure. All right. Lousy street circuits. This is Brendan Kazmarek's time to shine. How about the
Baltimore, that's it. That's the top.
What about the
peak.
2000 Trans Am circuit and Speed World Challenge circuit at San Diego?
I raise you the Minneapolis street circuit for.
I watched the 1996 Trans Am race from there recently, actually.
Yeah. Much of it looks different now. Like a lot of it. There's like one building that I recognize.
Oh, from that footage?
From that footage, yeah. And it's the Big Mill building, which is like a historical landmark now.
Sure.
But the rest of that is like completely different now.
Well,
we could do it. Some are saying.
Grand Rapids?
Doesn't Chattanooga already have some like street circuit?
Yeah, I actually have no idea if that event's still going on. I think it is, but
how do we not have the hookup on that?
They like DriversEye or WRL?
WRL.
Yeah, you would think. Well, so somebody may be able to correct me on this, but years ago, like as WRL was kind of hitting its stride, there were discussions of running like an exhibition during the event.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thought was generally like, oh, we're not going to score anybody, but anybody that wants to come run their cars, like it's going to be marketing for the series. I don't know what the arrangement would have been, but it was a way to get modern sports cars in a Chattanooga-based series.
Yeah.
Time in front of a public audience.
A little bit of exposure.
Yeah.
As they say. That's what the kids are calling it nowadays.
Thank you to all 56 of you that have tuned in for WRL Podcast
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I still think just a WRL podcast would slay.
What driver would make the best WRL podcast co-host? Like if we
Brad.
wanted to have a regular driver or owner on the series.
Brad. Absolutely Brad.
What if we were to get AI Tim Myers?
I can hear RJ running across the track.
We are done with qualifying coverage. We have just earned ourselves Fridays off.
Yeah, guys, can you just go ahead and shut that down now? All right, I think we're...
Amazing. Yeah, Brad would make a good guest. Cole, I think, would make a good guest. Sarah Montgomery would do well here, I think. For
the same three people we talk to all the time.
That's pretty much it. But, you know, somebody with vested interest in the series and in DriversEye Live Productions.
Yep. Sure thing.
Chad or Mike would be good, too. Mike Gorman. RB211 TriStar.
Yep. I still think a monthly DriversEye Live, like, catch-up travel, like, podcast would be good.
Do you think people have any interest in our amateur motorsports escapades?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I have toyed with, and like...
Nonsense, yeah.
I've toyed with the idea of, and I don't think I'm going to publish it, but like just to like get back in the video editing vibe, doing like a real style, this is what my weekend looks like when I go to the race.
Would you like to publish WRL highlights as well?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I would be doing my thing so that I could get in the habit of being able to publish WRL highlights.
Sure.
So, like, that's kind of what the angle I was going to take.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But it was born out of any time I take time off of work to do this, everybody's like, oh, you're going on vacation? Oh, you have a good time? Like, yeah, man, I'm going to Southern Virginia to work for 27 hours. It's going to be
Ever
fun.
been to Danville?
Like, I'm going to Miami, except not really.
South of Miami. What do you think is south of Miami? The Keys? Almost.
Not quite. Hotels that say the Keys on them.
The namesake city of Florida. Florida Ryanair Keys. That's pretty good.
Shout out to the Stockton Bay Area Metropolitan Airport. Represent.
Sure. They used to get America West service. Do you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, back in the day.
They currently get Allegiant service to Las Vegas. For very inexpensive.
You used to be able to fly from Stockton to Phoenix in an America West CRJ.
Ugh. I don't know who would do that. I did have an incredible one on my way back from covering PCA here at VIR.
Another DriversEye Live.
DriversEye Live
partner.
Production. Yep. There was someone on the plane, because I'm taking this flight from RDU to SFO, and it was, an hour delayed or whatever it ended up being. And they were going over the intercom, talking about who needs to be at the front of the plane so that we can make their connections. And for whatever reason, there were two people trying to connect to a Medford, Oregon flight.
Sure.
From RDU. And I'm like, in my head, growing up in that general region, I'm trying to decide who from Durham is desperately trying to get to Medford today. Like, that's a very specific flight chain there, and like I don't know how the two places connect at all. Like I think I settled on it must be a car dealership thing, because Lithia is stationed in where their headquarters is in Medford, and
sure.
And the BMW stuff is like kind of in Greensboro, I think. Maybe. Is that right? BMW's in Greensboro? No?
I don't. Yes, I think so.
I think so. So that's kind of the connection that I assumed that it was, but otherwise I can't imagine anybody from here trying to get to Medford, Oregon.
Yeah.
By plane.
Show Ray in the chat, there was an opportunity for an exhibition, but the walls were inside the street curbs. There were only 2 passing spots on the whole circuit. I assume that's talking about Chattanooga. I mean, if it's an exhibition, does it matter? I mean, was it going to be an exhibition race? Like, you know, at a certain point, just having 7 cars out doing laps in, well, as much anger as Chattanooga Motor Car Festival was comfortable with.
Sure.
Looking at you, RJ. 4 wheels off the ground in your E30. As much as they would have been comfortable with. I realize it's not like a proper racing circuit, right? It is still mostly a historic festival, but if you're running an exhibition to get the series a little bit of visibility in the, on the ground, it doesn't matter so much.
Sure. Let me, I had one idea. I want to make sure that it's still feasible here. So, talk amongst yourself, I suppose. Let's see.
We do have cars back out on circuit, by the way. This will be HPDE Group 4, or HPDE Session 4, I believe. Including some of the GTO and GTU cars we just saw. Parastratus NPL1s there. So what cars did we miss that session? Because we only had 16 cars. Oh, and it was. We only had 16 cars take times. We missed the Rapscallion, or 739 Racing by Rapscallion Ligier. JSP4. I didn't see the GTR 99 either, Ryan.
I did not see the GTR 99.
Yeah, it didn't set a time. I haven't seen them in the paddock or out on track today, but I wasn't specifically looking for them, so...
just to put a button on the thing that we were talking about with street circuits, could we do a WRL exhibition at the Sydney Olympic Park street circuit? Do you think we could do that? Brendan's out on that. It's over. So the answer is no. On going to Sydney to run WRL on the streets of Sydney by the Olympic Park.
Sorry, he's actively killing a very aggressive wasp right now.
A wasp? Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Layla, do you know who designed this Sydney Olympic Park street circuit?
I do not.
It was Mark Scaife.
Oh.
Who was a Australian V8 supercars driver.
We did it, guys.
Brendan, did you know that Mark Scaife designed the Sydney Olympic Park circuit?
I did, Homebush.
I didn't realize that he was the one that set that up.
Yeah,
Anyway.
He had his hand in a lot of things there.
Anyway, we should. That's where WRL should run. Is it
Homebush, Sydney,
Homebush? Yeah, that's
Australia.
Sydney. Yeah.
All right. Might be a little far.
No, we just do the thing that not SRO, the other one, Preventic does, and just get a ship
Sure.
and just send them all down. Good to go. Yes.
Devon427 Racing. Hey guys, I know I've asked a million times already, but why don't you guys race at MSR Houston? WRL used to race at MSR Houston back in when it was primarily a Midwest regional, let's say, budget endurance racing series.
Sure.
When those series tended to be very regional, which was kind of the genesis of a lot of this type, not this type of racing, but what used to be crack pan racing.
Yes.
WRL was a little bit of a step up, but also highly regionalized to the Midwest. And the series was franchised a little bit, expanded into the Southeast. The Southeast owners purchased the series and its assets, and it has become a roughly 2/3 of the country-based series. And unfortunately, when that happened, Houston was just one of those very highly regional events that went by the wayside, because if you wanted to go race in Texas, we already had Circuit of the Americas.
Well, and Eagles Canyon.
But that came after. I mean,
That's
Eagles
later,
Canyon
right.
we've only run twice.
Maybe that should be on like a rotational basis. We go to MSR, then we go to Eagles Canyon. You know, you kind of just switch it up.
Yeah, I mean, there are some tracks you can't really do that because you're giving up your date, and then you're in real trouble.
Right. We just talk to the Germans and how they sorted that out with Bernie.
Yeah, well,
to alternate with the
RJ is not Bernie.
No.
Yeah.
In many ways.
So anyway, Houston's a tough one. I do not speak for the series here. I speak only as somebody who sees things through the lenses and screens of 12 iPhone 12 Pros.
Don't go inside the actor studio on that. People are still surprised.
Yeah, fair. I actually ran into somebody at NOLA 2 weeks ago that was... I was carrying phones and batteries and stuff down the building at the north end of the track, event center. And one of the gentlemen that works for Eagles Canyon was standing there in a trailer because Lone Star Racing was hosting the event for SCCA.
Right.
And he's like, oh, iPhones. Like, yeah, gotta go get them charged for the night. He's like, yeah, WRL uses those for cameras. I was like, oh, that's us. Same people.
That is me.
Doing the same thing. Well, I did say it's me, and then I was like, but it's not usually me. Or it is only sometimes me. Yeah, it was, nice guy. But anyway, back to the Texas thing. I wouldn't mind going to Houston. I wouldn't mind going to MSR Houston. It's pretty empty, and it's pretty flat.
Whoa.
Yeah?
MSR Houston is in the middle of a great grouping of towns with plentiful opportunities for a fun lifestyle, for vacations.
That might be true.
And I wholeheartedly support the Houston region and believe that that is a great part of the country at TM. And I would never want Brendan to say anything that would imply that he didn't like Houston, that he thought Houston was a sleepy town, that it was boring in the off-season. I don't want Brendan to be caught saying any of those things.
Great food.
Great food.
What I'm getting at is that I can only speak as a somebody who works in video production and somebody who is looking for how it would affect DriversEye Live's ability to function. And I just don't know that it's a good fit for live video. Now, if it's popular and people want to go race at MSR Houston, that's a discussion to have with RJ about future calendar and things like that. But I think there's a pretty good presence in Texas between Eagles Canyon up to the north and west of the DFW metro area and Circuit of the Americas, of course, in Austin. Houston's kind of that last untouched part, but all of the Houston-based teams we have do come out for COTA anyway. So maybe there's an opportunity there in the future. I heard rumors as well that MSR Houston was up for sale, being purchased.
Well, I also heard that a track was being built in Texas this year, like a club track.
So there's a couple of tracks, but I think a lot of them are up in the Dallas area. G2 Motorsports Park, which is a Lou Gelati-owned venue up there, has very close walls to the track, which is great for cameras. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a lot for, endurance racing and
safety.
People walking home with or driving home with their cars and all in one piece.
Sure. The pilot on my United Airlines flight yesterday, I guess part of the flight was today. Anyway, said the word safety probably 7 times while giving his little pre-flight speech.
Did you
which
count?
I thought was funny. I thought Jordan would have appreciated that pilot was all about safety. Good time.
I mean, it is all about safety, right?
It's all about safety. It's the safest cabin crew, the safest flight. We're going to cut some corners, but we're going to do it safely. Lots of safety language.
This was United?
United, yeah.
Yeah, they're big on that. I think Delta's a little bit big on that. American just wants to get you there. They don't care. And it works. They get me there.
It does work.
They get me there.
I did make my wife drive me to the airport this time as opposed to doing my multiple train.
San Francisco this time?
Yeah. And it saved me about an hour and a half.
So go figure.
I was like, all right, well, maybe I just need to harangue my wife into... And, effectively, I'm just transferring that hour and a half to my wife because then she has to drive all the way home after having driven me there. So it's,
Well, it's 2 round trips from Stockton to San Francisco, right? down, drop you off, and then pick you up.
And then, well, I don't think she's going to pick me up. I think I am.
Oh,
going to
you got to do the
home.
train. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a Monday, so.
Nigel Nixon, this is very much the American motorsport version of Test Match Special. Love it.
Yes.
We've done
exactly.
it.
Yes.
We've done it.
Yes, that's
Absolutely.
what we
wanted.
Absolutely. Yes.
So the problem is, Nigel, the problem is that normally we do this when there's racing happening on Saturdays and Sundays in the middle of 8 and 7 hour races, respectively.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it is part of, I think, the charm of this type of endurance racing is we've become very good at flowing into and out of that type of coverage, right? You plug into the race coverage when there's things happening, and in between, pit stop cycles or whatever, when cars are putting in laps and we're just doing stuff, we kind of go podcast mode, Test Match Special, and we thoroughly enjoy those opportunities, whether anybody else does or not. So this is kind of what we're going for here. We're in between qualifying sessions. There's an HPDE, High Performance Driving Experience, or Education, depending on who's branding it, session out right now. That's also kind of an additional race test session.
Yep.
If you want to pay for the extra track time, that is an option for you. And yeah, so we're just been killing time here before GP1 and GP2 qualifying in a little while.
This is much better than when we just spent this whole 45 minutes complaining off the air. This is much more fun.
Univated? Univaded? I'm not sure. How many cars this weekend? I think 43 is the number on the entry list.
Wow.
Yeah, it was significant. I think it sold out actually when registration opened.
Ooh.
But we've walked that back a little bit. I do wonder how much of that has been weather forecast. Barber was also a bit of a challenge in terms of home in 1P, the full month in between events. But yeah, lost a handful of entries. Also, I do wonder a little bit if people were kind of waiting to see what Mid-Ohio was going to look like this year. There's been some pretty substantial investment made into the facility, repaving some of the paddock roads, or paving some of the paddock roads in a couple of cases. Obviously, reprofiling China Beach. They've replaced a lot of the concrete blocks with Armco, which is really nice. Good new Armco, painted red, of course. New catch fencing. I mean, there's a lot of work been put into the facility over the last little while.
Importantly, did they pave over the special stage that's on the back side of the keyhole that takes you down to the starter stand?
I haven't been back there. There's a sign that says no vehicles past this point, but I think that's in the photo lane.
Right.
So
I'm talking about the actual. There's an access road back there that if you have the right rental car is very nice.
My favorite special stage in the country is the Coda exterior photo ring road.
That one's a little narrow, man.
It is.
That freaks me out a little bit.
Let me tell you, you hustle it, and the potholes, the Dodge and Marshall station, it's really something. Matt, Go ahead.
There's a lot of room for error at that Mid-Ohio one.
That's
for
fair.
Sure. Like, a lot of room for error.
Matt Guyver asked about plumbing upgrades. The bathrooms were replaced ahead of... I don't know if they were in place for WRL last year, Ryan, over on the paddock side, but I do know when we were here for the SCCA Super Tour in May that at least the men's bathroom over near Garage 1 had been completely freshly outfitted.
I believe they had mostly finished it when I was there. Mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, this is almost in every case of the first active weekend of the year for Mid-Ohio. Yeah, issues persisted last year, Matt says. Yeah, I don't know. When I was here in May, it was pretty okay. 7427 Racing, very interesting on MSR Houston. That's why you guys have my full support on whatever tracks you choose. MSR is pretty flat and outdated, IMO, but maybe in the near future things will change. I have heard that is the case, and obviously there are Darren says, what does he say? Sale may be true. The sale may have been already completed. A change is coming soon with 10 dots.
Interesting.
Yeah. ... Yeah.
Do you think we could get a Tim Myers insider quote on that?
Probably, but I'm not sure. It's been floating around for a long time.
Right.
So anyway, I assume nothing happens until it starts to happen, and because it's not been in the public eye, unlike our friends out at Willow Springs, this has been very quiet. So I don't know what the status of things down there in Houston is. But
Sure.
should the opportunity present itself where they've got, an upgraded track or a redesigned track, or something that's a little bit closer to a, let's say, the modern country club approach to racing, but that also allows for the occasional public rental, I'd be into that.
Like VIR, for example.
Thanks, Nigel. Appreciate you. Yeah, like VIR. Although I could do with some Armcos a little bit closer to the track over there.
Well,
Yeah, start-finish camera is a rough one.
See, this is what people ask for. It's like, well, there shouldn't be any runoff. There should just be grass. No walls to hit. And then you end up with it looking like this.
Well, they had to. Yeah, VIR kind of had to do something because they were getting cars that were, going way off.
Right.
Yeah, they had to have something to. That's going to be a lightning cable. Let me get you a good one. Sorry. I faked out Layla on the charge cable.
Nice.
Plugged into the block here in the booth. If you're enjoying us this weekend, all 64 of you, do come back for race coverage tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. We're going to do it again on Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central.
And you'll have one of them foreigners on the broadcast.
Yeah, Scott Michaels is going to join us for the first time in a little while. JT Tammy will be with us for most of the weekend. To be fair, we've also had some foreigners, Ryan, because Robert Hill Jr. is featured in the beginning part of the season.
I'm not going to go there.
Well, no. Good catch.
I'll text you.
You don't have to. So it'll be. I'm looking forward to the weekend of racing here. I haven't been here for a WRL race since the snow race, 2022.
Yep,
was my last weekend up here. Every other year I've been down in Alton, Virginia, for the SCCA Soup Tour. Oh, it was a conflicting event.
Yes.
Yep. Made the opposite choice. Made the opposite choice this year. Switch things up a little bit.
I'm getting to see a different section of the planet here, which is nice. So
it is different.
And
the last capital of the Confederacy, Danville, Virginia.
Here's a hot take. I don't think we should talk about that.
I mean, that's fair. I'm just geographically, that's a thing, which I didn't know.
Sure, but you don't go into Berlin. You're like, oh yeah, this is the last home of Nazi Germany. Like, what? No. You don't
sure. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
What? What are you talking about? What? It was pointed out to me because I expressed some pretty heavily Yankee feelings at one point, and it was pointed out to me that in the Constitution there was an amendment written that all Confederate soldiers were to be treated as veterans of the United States.
Right.
Which I was unaware of as a West Coaster.
Nigel Nixon, I'm probably most impressed that you've heard of TMS. It's only because we spent how many hundreds of hours listening to Radio Le Mans coverage, Midweek Motorsport, etc.
So when I was young and edgy, I did listen to the Test Match Special.
Did you really?
Because I thought that made me different.
It
turns out it did make me different, but not in the way that I was looking for.
What would you say is the most obscure sport that at one point in your life you were like, you know what? I'm going to try and learn this. I'm going to try and understand this sport.
That's a good question. I'll have to noodle on that a little bit.
Yeah. Because cricket, it doesn't, in the U.S. anyway, cricket's pretty obscure.
Okay, so you say that. The United States cricket team did really, really well in the World Cup a year ago. And I was like, when you hear that, you're reflexively like, why is that? And then you look at the names, and it's all a bunch of Bay Area tech, Indian and Pakistani, migrant people.
Sure.
That were on the American team. So where I work, the prior owner of the establishment was a sponsor for the cricket club team in the town that I work in. And the Bay Area has a whole cricket scene. It's a big deal.
Interesting.
Where I work. So
my college, my university had an intramural cricket deal going on.
I was taught how to play cricket by 5th and 6th graders in Australia when I was in the 5th and 6th grade.
Interesting.
So that was one that I glommed onto pretty easily. I'm trying to think.
Curling.
I did curling. I don't even think, but like again, I spent a lot of time in Minnesota where curling's not that weird. Like
No,
that's
and same in
that's like a
upstate
thing.
New York.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
There was a curling club quite close to the airport and air traffic control tower up there that, every now and then a couple of guys would go curl.
That was fun. I enjoyed that. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time to have done it. The town that I lived in did not have a curling club. The closest one was like 30 or 40 minutes away, so it was kind of frustrating to get down there.
Is bobsledding and sliding sports, are they considered obscure?
Yeah, but you don't have to like learn it. Like
That's
sled,
fair.
sled go fast, sled not go fast. Like
Yeah, and speed vision. Oh, it was just Speed Channel, I guess. It's about 0304. Did make an effort to promote it during the Jeff Bodine years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was kind of just placed in front of you. Also, having the Martin Haven carryover does help.
Most obscure. Interestingly enough, when I was in Miami, I considered trying to learn how highlight works.
Oh yeah.
But I never actually did it, so like that doesn't really count. So it probably is like cricket or, to an American audience, cycling.
Kabaddi has been submitted by Nigel in the chat. Now that is obscure in that I've never heard of it.
Aussie rules football.
Wikipedia says it's a contact team sport played between two teams of 7 players. So if that's all you need to know, then yeah, I'm in.
Brendan, in your time in Oklahoma, did you ever go to a stickball tournament?
No.
See, my Native American tribe is very big on stickball, which is like played on a soccer field, and it's like field hockey basically. But the field dimensions are not specified, so in theory you could do it in just like a giant open pasture. And you just have 2 goals or whatever. But that's like a big thing among Native American tribes in Oklahoma.
Are you part Native American, Ryan?
I am.
Yeah, I think I remember.
According to the federal government as well, I have papers.
Oh, do you?
Yep. I do.
Ryan,
indeed.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
This is going to be test my special stuff here.
Sure.
Jordan's left to go to laundry 15 minutes ago. Do you have what model iPhone do you have?
13 Pro Max.
Do you own any devices that are charged by USB-C?
My wife's iPhone, my Beats by Dre headphones that
How
have
do
like
you clean pocket lint out of the charging port?
of the USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have pocket lint in my headphones. My wife uses a Clicks case, which means the charging point usually is above her pocket.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
That's a huge conversation starter when you work in business, by the way. If you bust out an iPhone that has a Clicks case on it, you are the man. That is instant conversation starter. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
So I've been using, because I've replaced another one of the iPhones here, I've been using a, pen, let's say, the SIM pin thing, to try and clean the port out.
Oh, I see.
But
okay.
Because you can't, the USB-C has the thong in the middle.
Right.
You can't run anything around the edges to try and clean it out.
Right.
So when you use it, it basically just pushes all of the lint to the edges, and you end up in a significantly worse situation than you were in when you started.
Okay, I'm gonna level with you. In high school, I would literally just put the phone mostly up to my mouth and suck as hard as I could, and then just spit out whatever came out into my mouth.
All right.
And it worked pretty well.
All right. Here, I may have something else that can work here. Let's try this. It's a twist tie. Cats would love it.
Yeah, I would be worried about doing the hot glue thing with the little post in the middle.
Hot glue thing? Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah, for the lightning ports, yeah, you pour hot glue in it, and then as it starts to solidify, you put like a needle or a toothpick in there.
Incredibly bad idea.
And then as soon as it all gets cold and stuff, you just pull it out, and it pulls all the funk out.
Yeah, I don't know what that would do to the prong.
Exactly. That's why I'm like,
Sure,
on the
yeah.
USB-C, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, my iPhone is just new enough that it's not yet worth it for me to replace it just to switch to
Yeah.
one
No, I
set
got
of
you.
charging cables. Actually, I think mine's the last one.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the Lightning.
Right.
Very rare. Will be worth a lot of money. On
Sure.
eBay.
Yeah.
You know, I offered a friend of mine is going to nursing school, and she mentioned that she needs to have like timers. And I said, "Oh, I have an Apple Watch in my drawer. It's like my old Series 1 Apple Watch." I was like, "Oh, I'll just send it to you. Like, it's not a problem." She lives in Reading. I live further south now. So I put it in the mail to her, and I was like trying to put in how much I should insure it for. And I looked online, and you know, a Series 1 Apple Watch is still worth like $120.
Is that
on
right?
eBay. Yeah. I don't think I paid more than like $170 for it when it was new. Because they were on sale, and I remember purchasing it. And, the reason I purchased an Apple Watch to start with was my wife was on this habit of replacing her Fitbit like every 2 years, because on the dot every 2 years they would fall apart and stop working.
Sure.
And I bet her, I said, I'm going to buy this Apple Watch, which is a little bit more, but not that much more, because it was the old one even at the time. And I bet it lasts longer than this Fitbit does, and it did by a lot. And it still works in my drawer. My friend Hannah can have a Apple Watch to set timers for her patients.
A needle should work. I don't have a needle, but the SIM plug pin thing, you would think would accomplish the same thing as a needle, and it really hasn't.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Can I recommend a plastic fork with 3 of the prongs broken off?
I don't know that that's any better.
I mean, yeah, but then you're not going to bend anything, because it'll bend the... You can be more aggressive with it because it's not going to bend the post. Whereas I think you could actually damage it with the SIM key thing.
That's probably true. See, I can see it all in there. It's packed
Check it
up
all
on
out.
the sides. Yeah. What if I try and shove it back to the middle, away from the edges? Maybe that'll work.
This is not test match special. This is... People are tuning out now. No.
Is it? No, that's fair. All right. Yep. The viewer numbers are down. Anyway.
We expected it. We expected the view numbers to be down.
Yep. We really hadn't planned any sort of production schedule for this.
Not at all. We should probably have a list. Maybe a list of approved topics from RJ specifically. I did roll the dice on these new headphone squishy pads.
Yep.
I hadn't heard back from you, and if you would ask
forgot
Joseph
all about
or not.
it. Yeah.
These are great, by the way.
Yeah.
You should buy this brand specifically for the production headphones, because these are fantastic.
It's not Brainwaves, is it?
No, it's I don't remember what it was.
We've got Brainwaves here.
Waves.
Yeah, with a Z.
Brain.wav.
Yeah.
Eventually they're going to switch to MP3.
Matt Guyver asks, GTU Quali was abbreviated. Yes, it was. If you go over to Race Monitor, you should have the provisional results from those 2 sessions up and posted there. 8 cars turned times in each of the classes. It only made it through right about 19 minutes until we got a black flag and then subsequent checkered flag. That ended the session.
Pending tech, of course.
Thanks to the provisional. I said provisional. Thanks to the Camburn Performance Engineering Genetta G55. Caught myself. The only Genetta we've got here this weekend at Mid Ohio.
The off Camburn Performance.
Clark himself, Clark Camburn, involved in broadcasting. And,
wait, so does that mean Ari
motorsports.
is at Long Beach? Is that why they're...
Is that happening this weekend?
Yeah. It is indeed.
Then Rob...
Are they
What class
running?
would be running
I was
there?
going to say, so when I went, they did all the classes, but I don't think they do that anymore.
No, but does Ari run in...
Runs in P3.
Yeah, but P3's not in WeatherTech anymore. But
Okay, he runs P2. Know that.
oh, then yeah, probably. I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Did they switch the Long Beach to GT only?
No, it's the DPI. DP. Oh boy, the GTPs are definitely there.
So you think it's GTP?
Oh, it's next weekend anyway, Ryan.
Oh, it's next weekend? I thought I could have swore it was this weekend. I was kind of bummed that I was going to miss it. But next weekend is the Sea Otter Classic.
I heard about this for the first time recently, and I don't. Oh yeah, it's at Laguna. It's a cycling event at Laguna, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter's going to be going to a camp, so that the following year she can do competitive mountain biking
At the Sea Otter Classic.
at the Sea Otter Classic. Yeah. So that'll be fun. We'll be checking cell service as I wander around Laguna Seca. I will say that because my desire to run last in a Category 6 race... I'm going to stop doing that. I keep falling. Because my desire to run last in a Category 6 race for $200 is low, I have to find 2 days' worth of things to do at the Sea Otter Classic that don't involve racing.
Is that possible?
There's a festival. I think I can burn a whole day doing the festival and watching some of the races. But the second day is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Second day will be real rough. They do a road course race on the track, of course. I think there's like a 5-lap and a 7-lap race around Laguna Seca.
Sure. Yeah.
Which, like, sounds like, 5 laps is that, but there's an enormous hill that's really long the whole way up, which was initially...
and a not quite so enormous, but still exhausting hill up the front straightaway.
Yeah,
exactly. Up to the crest there, that's tough.
Just, and then you can't even carry any speed, because even on a bicycle, you can't just take that hairpin at, like, full blast. You have to slow down for it.
That climb from turn 5 to the corkscrew sounds
oh my gosh.
exhausting.
I couldn't...
That's no good.
Like, there's a lot of... Most of them are, like, mountain bike and gravel races that are, like, out and backs. Into like Fort Ward, and like they're rolling hills or whatever, but I was like, maybe I'll do the road race in like the the idiot category for all the out of shape old men. And I remember realizing, like, wait a minute, if it's on the track, I'm hosed. There's no way I can do that. No chance. Have you seen they do a hill climb there now? Like that's like a competitive event.
Oh yeah, they go
up the corkscrew.
Up to the corkscrew, yeah.
I think that's overdue. I feel like I had that idea when I was like 12, playing Gran Turismo 4.
Like, WRL hill climb at Laguna when?
Oh man, WRL hill climb calendar. Let's go.
I'm confident Laura Hayes would just clean up there.
There's a lot of WRL people that run that Pikes Peak week.
Is that right?
Yeah, because you got Laura, you got Lonnie. I thought Tyler did it at one point.
I forgot Lonnie, yeah.
A bunch of the W2W people do it in that GT4 Cayman class.
Yeah.
Middle Ohio. Jordan has returned from doing laundry.
Center Ohio.
Jordan Worth, I was, I'm going to give you time to come onto the mic here. I was exposed to a reel today that was... Oh, you don't have that set up? Oh, it's too bad. Okay. Oh, brutal. All right, he's working on it. So I'll describe the reel as he works on it. I was shown a reel while waiting for this session to happen. That was, if Mr. H gave you the keys to any car for 1 lap at any track, what would it be? And it was like all of the 48s basically laid out, like in the museum that they have at Hendrick. Because I guess there's some event going on at the Hendrick Motorsports headquarters that like a bunch of the journalists are at too. I don't know why or what they're doing there. I thought there was a launch, but maybe not. Anyway, Jordan Worth, if you had to pick any NASCAR, a Hendrick car specifically, and I'm more talking about year more so than livery, because I think I could solve the livery part for you. Which one would it be and what track would it be at? Almost. I really thought I had it nailed on the timing there. I was feeling good. I was feeling really, really good about it. I thought I had it nailed down. I guess not. Jordan, if you could pick any year Hendrick car for one lap at one track, what would your track, and what would your car be?
Now, this is not specific to like the paint scheme.
Right, because I assume that you're going to pick whichever Dale Jr. paint scheme.
Oh, right, exactly.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got my answer.
2003.
2003, and then which track?
Ooh. Am I out there by myself? Can it be in a pack?
With an instructor. Well, not in a pack. With an instructor, if you would like. Otherwise, yeah, by yourself.
Huh. I don't know. Probably Darlington.
Darlington. Okay.
Darlington's fun to just run laps.
All right. Brendan,
So,
where you at?
it's T-Rex is the car. The cheater car, alleged cheater car. That ran the Winston in like '98.
Oh, there's
for
no
Jeff
alleged
Gordon.
there. That was absolutely...
There's no alleged. Yeah, that was a cheater car. And it would be the first event at Atlanta after the reconfiguration. So fall '97, I think.
Okay.
When Bodine did 197 average or whatever it was.
Right.
Because like I would run T-Rex at Charlotte as well, just because it was bumpy, it was edgy. But man, freshly paved, freshly reconfigured Atlanta was just wicked. I was so fast. So that'd be my answer. T-Rex in repaved Atlanta, but 90s Atlanta.
I think my decision would be year one car of tomorrow, just for the meme with the wing and everything.
Sure. Yep.
And I want to try to run a lap at that fake track where you're underneath the grandstands for the pits. You know what I'm talking about?
The Speedway or the
Dodge Speedway or whatever it was called.
Yeah, Dodge Stadium.
Dodge Stadium. Yeah. I think it would be that, which would be over really quickly, but I'd get to do the pit in thing a couple times there, so that'd be good.
It's not even a real track.
My game. I'll make up the rules as I please. Would you pick Coke Speedway?
Pick a Lime Rock.
Lime Rock? Okay. All right.
Yeah, carved tomorrow, year one, Lime Rock.
Carved tomorrow at Lime Rock.
Mansfield Motorsports, right up the road here. The Johnny Leah special.
Wing carved tomorrow at Eldora.
Oh, man. Just with the splitter lifted so you can run it in the mud.
Yeah. Heck yeah. All right, that concludes my NASCAR.
Yep, Irwin's back, so we've got to cut the nonsense and focus back in. I've finished HPDE session 4, which is our interlude session here. Now waiting for GP1, GP2 qualifying, standalone, to take us through towards 3 o'clock, and that'll be the 30-minute session that sets the grid for tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
I do want to talk about the grid here. If it's meant to be raining, I think these qualifying positions in GP are going to matter a lot. And I think in GTO, they're going to matter very little. And my reasoning for that is, if you're in the GP field and you're kind of quick, I think you're going to have a shot to be at the front of the GTO field if it is raining. That's my take, especially with the lack of GT4 cars present with the super duper ABS and stuff.
Right. I mean, that's fair, but why is it that much more significant in the general production classes would be my explain yourself question.
Because there's traditionally a grouping at the front end of GP1 that's running kind of into the GTO times. And when you have the rain, which is the great equalizer, the advantage the advantage the GTO cars have is that they have more power, but you negate that to some extent when you are in the rain. So I think that delta will be even smaller than it usually is. So if you are a quick GP1 car driver combination, you really do want to be at the front of the GP1 field, because if you get mired in the pack, it'll be that much harder to make your way to the front in the rain, because you'll be in the spray substantially.
All right, yeah. I mean, So I guess if you're going to expand on that, maybe the GP1, GP2 field is going to be bunched together where GTO, GTU will be separated, right? So if
Correct.
you get stuck in the mid-pack, or let's say the back of the GP1 field, you've got GP2 cars coming up from behind. Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but it really is just going to lend itself a little bit more towards chaos rather than like, hey, we're going to be able to, or we're going to lose time that we're not going to be able to make up. I mean, I don't see that being a particular issue.
I'm just really rooting for a GP1 car overall podium, and I think the rain is our best opportunity to do that. I also believe that the rain, as discussed, is going to be not great for the GTU field. This is going to be a chance for a GTO car to steal a win, an overall win at least, here early in the season.
Well, you say that, but remember that ostensibly the quickest GTO car we've got in the field this weekend, the number 70 Round 3 Racing Porsche, does not have traction control. ABS is going to get it a long way, but yeah.
I mean, that's true, but you've got good drivers, and you have dynamically a car that you'd want to drive in the rain with the motor over the back. And that car is fast in the rain. We've seen it put in good times in the past.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a well-sorted car. I don't think it's going to be a pain to drive or anything like that. But, you know, the Mustang has all the bits and bobs, the bells and whistles that GT4 cars have. And, you know, there's opportunities there.
I'm still willing to bet, and you'll have to report back to me tomorrow after the race is over, that the Porsche 911 will still be running faster times, generally, than the Mustang will in the rain.
Probably true. We have cars on course for GP1 and GP2 qualifying. As my Discord stream hangs up here a little bit. Jordan, the answer is it's not better. For your question asked a little bit earlier, 2.5 minutes gone on the clock, 27.5 minutes or so remaining. And as we said, it's kind of the production all skates setting the grid for tomorrow morning. No impact on Sunday. And remember that Sunday's grid will be set entirely by the fastest lap time set during Saturday's race, not a combination of your fastest times or anything like that. So this is really just an opportunity to get cars all in the same specification, having cleared tech in the morning and out on course in something of a rapid-fire qualifying session. This was the session that really delivered back at Barber, Ryan. Just a production session with, from memory, the Corvette C5 from 94 Motorsports, Palomar, I think, being involved.
Shades
and,
of LMPC qualifying, which was the best qualifying to watch ever.
Always. So, anyway, we progress on our first flying laps. I think it'll take maybe 2 or 3 laps to get up to temperature and up to pressure. It's not cool out or anything like that, but you would expect fresh tires to be on the cars for qualifying. Maybe scrub in your set of 200 treadwear Continental tires, the spec tire in GP1, brand, in GP1 and GP2. All-Star Racing goes provisional pole 137.133 ahead of the AOA Racing number 85 BMW M2.
Do we know who's named against the All-Star Racing car this weekend?
I don't, and I haven't seen the names up on the up above the doors either. 1.1 seconds is the margin from All-Star Racing Power Racing number 38. Garage 66, number 214, slots into the GP2 pole, at least provisionally, 3rd overall in the running order. We flip that over to the class sort. 83 Palomar is the that's a sister car to the 38 in GP1. 83 in GP2 is in the equivalent, or was in the equivalent position in the lower class. Now the 851 of AOA Racing slots up into 2nd place. TC Klein Racing, the number 112, that bright green, or one of the bright green BMW M40, I think, for TC Klein. Or is it 235? Yes. Yeah, okay, 240. Into 4th place in Ginger Racing, back in the number 46. Like to see them back currently top 5 in GP1. Cars continuing to come through and setting their initial lap times, first laps out of the pits. And we'll wait for this the All-Star Racing car, the Palomar car, to cycle back through on timing and scoring.
Is that Brendan's second favorite race team?
Ginger Racing? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Excellent.
Bruce Innovations 333 into or out of back into the pit lane without setting a representative lap time, which is very interesting. All-Star Racing appears to have been either are they one and done in that number 5? 152.7 is not a qualifying time, or certainly a representative one. Palomar Racing 38 improves, 137.649 to go within just about a half a second of the number 5 of All-Star Racing. AOA Racing number 85 in third. A little bit further back. It's the first of the Palomar cars is flashing through on screen, the number 38. Substantially more blue and green as opposed to green and yellow, which is the 83. Tremendously noisy Ford Mustang, the number 96, comes through start finish. That's Primetime Motorsports. Not just noisy, but also fairly quick. Now third place provisionally in GP1, 1.5 seconds off of the class pole sitter. It didn't look to be pulling very aggressively off of the final corner here, but really competitive time out of that Primetime Motorsports full potential sponsored Ford Mustang down the front straightaway. There it is, just in the back of your shot there, headed towards our camera at the exit of the keyhole. Go underneath what will be the start stand, start line, when we get to about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Take the green flag here on the back straightaway and then funnel down into the reconfigured turn 4. The now mostly at-grade China Beach. Does slope away a little bit, but the lip itself is gone. See just how high they've had to build the embankment on the back side of the Armco there. Through madness down towards turns 8 and 9. And make their way towards Thunder Valley. Thunder Valley, new pole sitter in GP1. That number 38 from Palomar now dips not quite into the 36s, just a couple of hundredths out of that range. 137.045, less than a tenth of a second now is the margin for the provisional GP1 pole. Palomar leads All-Star Racing, Ginger Racing up into third in the number 46, displacing briefly anyway, the 96. Now comes back through and resets that time to go to the inside of the second row. So it's 38 and 5 on the front row, 96 and 46, Primetime and Ginger Racing on the second row. And then AOA Racing number 85 and the 112 of TC Klein Racing on the provisional third row. And then the first of the open throttle racing BMWs, number 64, ahead of the 946 from Flying Fur Motorsports. It's a local team based just down the road in Westerville, Ohio. In P8, and then Blaze Racing and Samson Racing Communications 118 and 180, rounding out the provisional top 10 in GP1. GP2, your class leader, is the 214 of Garage 66. Ahead of the number 135 from Rapscallion. It is the surviving Rapscallion RP1 at the moment.
It's worth noting before we get too far, Brendan, that
Yep.
Garage 66 car would be third in GP1 right now.
It is worth noting for the moment, but those classes will be split out when we get
absolutely.
to tomorrow morning. But a car well suited to Mid-Ohio is likely to be a car that really even excels in the rain as well, which is going to be really, really interesting. I mean, if it's got right now 3.6 seconds.
Palomar improves to 136.8.
Yeah, that's a big number. I don't know that I wonder if that car is GP2 ready or not. That's an insane number. To be clear, the 135 Rapscallion car, which is a really well-sorted piece of kit, and the 83 Palomar car, which is also an exceptionally well-suited GP2 car. 3.6 seconds clearance. Genuinely insane number. We've dipped into the 36s at the front of GP1.
Yeah.
Palomar down to a 36.8. All-Star Racing not able to improve out of the 37.1, but also not trying. Just 2 laps set for that number 5, and I think this may just be, or have been, a one-and-done session for that BMW.
Are they going to do the Formula 1 thing and come out right at the end? After the track's rubbered in? Low fuel?
Sure.
Probably not. Bruce Innovations.
Innovations.
Yeah,
All right.
comes up into third.
Yep, so that was an out lap, something of an installation lap maybe for that car at the beginning of the session. Came back out of the pits and set in the flyer, 137.204. Another quick lap for that car could get it onto the provisional front row in GP1. We've gone through a lot here, Ryan. We're only 11 minutes deep.
I think it's going to continue to shuffle at the top. That Palomar racing time, 136.8, I think is going to be hard to touch, but that second, third, fourth in GP1, I think will continue to shuffle.
You know, it's interesting. We look at Barber Motorsports Park, where we were at about 4 weeks ago, as being, a pretty technical track, fairly twisty. Suits light cars reasonably well. You don't need a ton of power, except for the pull up the hill on the back straightaway. We'll go to Road America next in about 3 weeks' time, and that's pretty notoriously a power track and or a downforce track if you can make your downforce efficiently for some of the faster corners. Mid-Ohio is a pretty well-balanced facility, right? The back half of the circuit, the last half or so, does really reward, change of direction, a really stable platform, and consistent grip through some of these longer corners with changing radius. The back straightaway, the front straightaway, and the run up into the keyhole, up what is affectionately called the Pro Straight, really sorts a power-heavy car. You don't need a ton of weight, but if you strip the downforce away and you decide to go all power, all torque, you can make up a really decent amount of lap time through the first sector and a half.
Right.
So I wonder if this is just what we're going to see here, where, okay, the Palomar number 38 is a pretty light car, pretty nimble car, obviously set the quick time, but we've got, 3 cars within 0.4 of a second at the front that are built slightly differently. The Primetime Motorsports car is another one that's built slightly differently, and that's within 1.6 seconds, 1.7 seconds of the class pole sitter. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see tomorrow and Sunday, tomorrow especially with the anticipated weather conditions, just how different builds of cars suit different conditions, whether warm and dry, warm and damp tomorrow, cold and dry on Sunday. Is the expectation just 41 degrees and no sun? We're gonna kind of run the gamut here, and I do wonder just how much variation we're going to see in pace, given how well balanced the field appears to be at this point. Another improvement from Primetime Motorsports, 138 flat last time around, gets it up into P4 in GP1. Drops TC Klein number 112 back to 7th. Flying Fur Motorsports, also improves. Palomar 38 is going to come back through. That was a reset lap, I think, 48.5.
A little surprised to see Samson Racing Communication and the Open Throttle car this far down the order. I will say those would be 2 cars that I would count on in the rain, making up quite a bit of time, especially the 180.
Yeah.
There's a lot of experience behind the wheel of that car, and that car not originally built for WRL, something of a compromise having to be made there to get that car to run in this specification. So not optimized here, and of course, those gentlemen trying to check off some bucket list tracks for themselves. Mr. Sampson, of course, and then Troy Lindstrom also driving that car. I think it's just the 2 of them. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. They came, or one of them came up and chatted with me at Eagles Canyon.
Oh, nice.
They were very pleased.
Haven't seen Troy Lindstrom's name in a while.
That was during GT3 Gate. That was when GT3 Gate happened.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know. I recall that.
Yeah.
Troy ran the old Super Truck at the 25 Hours of Thunderhill, did he not? Yeah.
He did indeed.
The whiskey sponsored Super Truck.
Old Rooster Whiskey. Yeah.
Speaking of, Rooster Hall Racing is here this weekend. I did not see them set a time in qualifying. I wonder if maybe there is a vision towards tomorrow with some of these cars, and wondering, well, look, the field is, not going to be representative of where things are going to start tomorrow. Are we better off, just letting today ride? We're going to start in the rain tomorrow. We'll start at the back and just kind of pick our way through the chaos and the challenges that present themselves as they present themselves.
I don't know. I go back and forth on that. I don't think there's ever a bad time to get track time.
Sure.
Especially when you have some surface changes like we've talked about. I also understand the idea of, hey, you know what? We've put call it whatever you want, a rain setup on the car, and so we're not going to be competitive in qualifying anyway. But like the odds are, everybody else has done the same thing. So you may as well try. Obviously, it's not my miles to put on the car and pay for, so what do I know?
There's to be some construction going on next door here on the second floor of the timing and scoring building.
Excellent. It's not construction, that's the flies.
No, it's some hammering into the shared wall here. Why has Polecat tripped timing number 108? Oh, it's because it was sitting in the pit lane. So they didn't set a time in the GTU session earlier, that number 108. I wonder if they had an issue they had to deal with, and they'll start at the back of GTU. But that does mean at least one of those cars we know in GTU that was on the entry list but didn't set a time is likely to be with us tomorrow and ready to go. Not much in the way of improvements here, and this is kind of what we come to expect. These Continental tires are super, super consistent, as TC Klein proves to be for, so makes a liar out of me. Very, very consistent. They will last the whole race, but like any tire, you're not likely to get continued ultimate performance over the course of a stint. Your ultimate performance, if you're going to set anything like a qualifying time, is going to come in this first, let's say first half, or this initial qualifying session.
I do think that in the cold weather, they'll struggle to get a little bit of heat into the tires over time. I think that's why the Palomar car did run faster and faster over time, because that car is pretty light, probably even harder to get temperature into it. So it took them a few laps to get it into the zone that they wanted to do. That's the story that I'm sticking with.
It's a sensible one, right?
Yeah. And if Brad McCall wants to say that I'm making stuff up, then so be it.
Have you been accused of making stuff up by Mr. McCall before?
Oh, certainly. Almost every time.
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
When you do 200 hours of this over the course of a year, you're bound to
get
called out at some point.
I keep telling him, I say, look, Brad, if I ask a question, nobody wants to tell me anything because you all are acting like this is Formula One and you don't want to give anything away. But if I'm confidently wrong about something, you'll tell me instantly why I'm wrong and explain it. So I have no incentive to do anything other than just making stuff up as I go.
Right, because you're going to learn by being called out for being wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the strategy, Ryan. And it's very clever.
Chad Moorhead does the same thing. If we talk about shifters and I talk about the wrong shifter, he'll jump in there immediately. That's not it. That's not how it works. Great. I'm in.
Tell me.
I am in. Gee, it seems like it's really expensive to get an E46 track car. I keep seeing them for 40 grand. Actually, you can do it for 20. Like, great. Excellent. The information I'm looking for.
Rooster showed a 35.7 on speed half, so Rooster Hall Racing was out in the first session. Of course they were. A bit more in the tank, so look forward to seeing what is on offer there tomorrow. Torrenwagen last year, GP2 ran high 37s. GP1 last year was in the 35s. Yeah, 36.8. I don't remember what the conditions were like here last year, Ryan, in the race.
Qualifying was wet and cold. The race
on
was
the Friday
mostly dry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think we're going to get a little bit of everything, like I said earlier. Damp and reasonably warm. I mean, in the mid-60s anyway.
Yep.
Dry and reasonably warm maybe at points during the afternoon tomorrow, and then dry and actually quite cold on Sunday. No snow, which, to my knowledge, is still the only WRL event that's taken place in an active snow shower.
Yep. Not a lot of races have.
No, that was a day.
That was
a day. I forget who it was. Was it Big Mission that said we're not going to race in 37 degrees because everybody's going to freeze? So they took everybody to, was it Prison Museum?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was either Round 3 or Big Mission, I think, that Did that a couple years ago.
I
Really
know
puts
Brad-
things into perspective for you.
I know
you
Brad always talks about going bowling.
Maybe
That's
they
his
went
big
bowling.
thing.
Yeah, they might have gone bowling, actually, now that I think about it. Every now and then I get a little too, like, drawn in to WRL and everything that it is and everything that it offers. And then you remember that, like, sometimes it's too cold out for people and they just don't race so they can go bowling or go do something as a team instead. And, like, it helps to refocus a little.
Well, look, man, I did the pit walk in 21 degrees at Thunder Hill one year.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we're above 30, like, we're all in. You remember that time, who was it, Rob Huff talked about that on Midweek Motorsport, and he, like, joked about how it was a good race and it was really, really cold, and they awkwardly pushed it off because that was the year that they had been stood up by NASA.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
that was a good
one
time.
One of our finest moments at Endurance Radio. I packed my Endurance Radio sweater for this weekend.
Ooh.
Yeah, not knowing if we were going to have heat or not. We got a plan, and
so
busting out, yeah.
If and when Bell Helmets makes us blink, are we going to switch back to Endurance Radio, or?
Unclear at this time.
All right.
Might have to ask AI for that list again.
You're going to ask Alan Iverson what to name our
Correct.
company?
Yep.
Excellent.
"22 minutes gone. And just under 8 minutes left on the clock here. 30-minute session. It did throw us off at Barber because we realized that all of the practice sessions were 35 minutes.
Right.
And qualifying would be the same. That just wasn't the case.
It was not. So we got 5 minutes left? Is that
Correct.
what we're... Yep.
Yep. Well, 6.5 now.
Okay.
6.5.
We'll just check the rundown.
Yeah, no green times on Race Monitor at the moment, Ryan.
Hey,
Just
Jim,
not
can
much
you
in
give
the
me
way
that
of
rundown?
Sure. I don't know if Jim is, but Palomar Racing number 38 on the provisional GP1 pole at the moment. 136.814 with 0.3 of a second in hand over the number 5 of All Star Racing. 2 laps is all it took for that number 5 BMW to stick itself onto the front row in GP1. Bruce Innovations number 333 in their BMW provisionally alongside the number 112 of TC Klein Racing BMW M240. Primetime Motorsports first non-BMW, the Ford Mustang 5th alongside the 6th place number 46 BMW of Ginger Racing. Flying Fur Motorsports alongside AOA 7th and 8th. That's number 85. The 64 of Open Throttle Racing and the 180 of Samson Racing Communications. 9th and 10th, with Blaze Racing and Open Throttle Racing rounding out the field there in 11th and 12th. Keep an eye on that Blaze number 118 tomorrow, I think. I know it's a lighter car, which may not lend itself to great things in the rain, but we rarely see that car outside of the top 5 once we get into proper racing conditions. And starting at the back, potentially in 11th or, on the back row anyway, of the GP1 grid, you might see some, I don't want to say heroics, but just keep an eye on that 118 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep, Garage 66, your provisional pole sitter in GP2, still 3.5 seconds clear of that Rapscallion number 135.
That's obviously the car presenting new technologies.
Is it?
Garage 66.
Yes.
66.
Rapscallion 135 there in second. That's the RP1 sort of Mazda MX-5 NC based car. AOA Racing, the number 851, the inside of the second row alongside the 83 of Palomar Racing, 4th place at the moment. Proper Performance, a pair of what appear to be Honda Civics, number 27 and the number 39, rounding out GP2 at the moment. Have we seen that name before? That's JT territory.
Yes, it is. We've seen that type of car here before. The, TCA Civic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Matt Guyver also makes a note about Rooster Hall. Interesting project. 4-cylinder powered E46.
Yeah, so that's starting to gain some steam as well.
Is that because of the lack of availability of the 6-cylinder blocks?
Yeah. And Mike Gorman has also transitioned some of his fleet over to the 4-cylinder BMW.
What is the okay? All right. I was like, what engine is it?
No, it's the 328, whatever the motor is that blows up all the time.
Right.
So if you look at it wrong and the timing chain lets go.
Great. Well suited to endurance racing.
Evidently people have some solutions potentially to make that run a little bit better. So I'm not going to cast stones.
Sure.
At this time. A solution needs to be found, obviously, for a lot of these teams that are running up against it. And I do believe that the step up in maintenance required to run a 240 is high, because now you have radiators and intercoolers and turbos and this. And there's a lot more going on there. And so I think sticking with this little 2-liter 4-cylinder is probably not a bad move in the medium term.
Is it an interesting move, though?
Interesting in what way?
Fun. Different.
Is it fun?
Engaging. Or is it just a sustainability move?
I believe it's a sustainability
Yeah.
move. It's not an engine that BMW has ever used in like a performance capacity. It's typically the motor that's in all the base cars. And so Mike Gorman, of course, he and I are on the same kind of BMW blank posting like pages.
Right.
Which have a diverse array of people in it. There's a lot of club racing people in them, and then there's a lot of like idiots that are look at me with my modded tuned 335i. I'm so good. Watch me go through racing on the freeway, stuff like that. And so Mike Gorman posts that he's going to use this motor, and that whole crowd, the sort of street racer crowd, is like, "Oh, you're an idiot. That's not even that fast. Why would you bother going to the racetrack? It's not going to be fun. My car is faster than this."
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And Mike Gorman 100% was on the bus of like, well, it fits the power to weight, and there's a lot of them. So we're going to try to make it work and see what happens. The chassis is really good. It's light. It's pretty fuel efficient. So if you can get him up there to talk about that, I'm sure he has opinions. But they are starting to move a little bit away from the E46, I think, and more towards this sort of newer body style 3 series.
All right. I'm game, to be clear.
I'm also
I don't think
game.
it's a bad solution or anything like that.
And parts for that are still available. That's still a version of that engine is still produced. So like there will be parts for a long time.
Ryan, you're not even going to be joining us on the mics this weekend, and we still got you in the E36, E46 replacement discussion. We've done
box
checked.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know?
Number 106 is out there circulating, but I'm not seeing it on timing, which is confusing / concerning.
Sure.
And either I'm not observing something on timing. It's the Brian Herta Autosport Hyundai Elantra N with the big old renewable lubricant sticker on the side. Now,
Excellent.
why isn't that car posting time? You're not seeing it on Race Monitor either, right?
I am not.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Is that a leftover artifact thing from a prior race, maybe?
No, don't think so.
No? All right.
Yeah, I see nothing. Very, very intriguing. Anyway, Brian Herta Autosports is here this weekend.
I wonder if they're not teched, and so it's running in the...
Oh, that could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw them pull in yesterday while we were waiting for the non-trailers to be let into the facility.
Sure.
In a very not Brian Herta Autosport trailer.
Oh, it's just like an open top, normal looking...
No, I mean, it was a small, almost like what you would put like lawn equipment in a closed top trailer.
Excellent.
Like that type of size, so just big enough for the car, and that's about it.
So the right tool for the job.
Yeah, and no Brian Herta
They don't need to bring their
stickers, just the Hyundai stickers.
You don't need to bring an IMSA hauler to run a TCA car. Like you just don't.
No, absolutely. If we were fielding like 2 TCRs,
right? Absolutely.
Plus the GP2 car, that might be different. But it's fair. Right tool for the job.
And this is going to be a GTU GTO discussion. Brian Herta Autosport also has presumably sitting around those global rallycross cars. So do you think we could squeeze that into turn it down, turn the turbo down a lot, turn the anti-lag off? and have a little all-wheel drive, 200 horsepower like rally car thing. That could be fun. In fact, that car has run here. At
Yeah.
the Motocross course. Like, that's, you know,
The
maybe
hallowed rallycross grounds of Mid-Ohio.
Maybe
I forgot
that's
all
an
about
angle.
that.
Maybe that's an angle. We should investigate that. And by we, I mean you. You should investigate that.
Brewster Hall Racing is a turnkey car of the Strom package. Got it. Recall the, is it Matt Strom? Am I thinking of the Phillies pitcher?
Well, that is Matt Strom.
That's also Matt Strom. Brett Strom. It's Brett. It's Brett. It's Brett. Not Lindstrom either. Anyway, checkered flag is out. General production qualifying.
That's how we're going to finish it.
Well, we haven't seen any lap time improvements here for a little while, and that tends to be the way of things when you do this type of qualifying. The only change we did see right here at the end is the 333 Bruce Innovations finally was able to upend the number 5 from All-Star Racing and put itself onto the front row in GP1. And as Ryan kind of mentioned earlier, being on the front row in particular in the general production field, it's a split start, remember. So if we are starting in the rain, clear visibility for one of those two cars, clear, right out of the gate, is a good advantage to have. It's 22 thousandths of a second in the end for Bruce Innovations, just missing out on the GP1 class pole. All-Star Racing number 5 and TC Klein Racing number 112 will start on the second row in GP1. Primetime Motorsports 96 and 46, just as it was down through the rest of the running order. It's Mustang alongside BMW flying Fur Motorsports 946, 64 of Open Throttle Racing on the fourth row, 85 AOA Racing, and 180 Samson Racing Communications 9th and 10th. Blaze Racing and Open Throttle Racing number 63, as we said earlier, to start 11th and 12th. 4.8 seconds covers the GP1 field, top to bottom. Not so bad. GP2, the class pole sitter, the 214 from Garage 66. Again, that lap time is so far outside the range of what we would normally expect.
But for a hydrogen-powered car, that's pretty good.
Yeah, sure. That's top 5 in GP1 type pace. Really, really interesting.
Yeah.
For that car. So we'll get some clarification on that. Make sure we're all ready to go in GP2 there tomorrow. But anyway, 214 is your provisional pole sitter there in GP2, alongside the 135 of Rapscallion, the 141.4 AOA Racing number 851, alongside the 83 car of Palomar, that second BMW out of the San Diego base squad on the second row, and then the proper performance Honda Civics number 27 and number 39. Watch those cars. Number front wheel drive in something like an inch to an inch and a half in a rain that's likely to fall between now and this time tomorrow. Most of it overnight, to be fair. But anyway, we've seen front wheel drive powered GP2 cars here do exceptionally well in the past. Actually, one of them being a Hyundai from memory.
Yep.
So
from Brian Herta, I believe.
I don't no, it was what was the team that ran it in the snow race that led overall for a while?
It was one of the big teams. I thought it was Brian Herta because it was like the Hyundai factory team.
I want to say it was like Velocity or something like that. I thought it began with
Was it
V.
Velocity?
No, maybe I'm just thinking because it was a Veloster.
I think it was Brian Herta. I really do.
I don't think it was. Anyway, just keep an eye on those cars tomorrow. The pace is pretty much there, and being able to take advantage in the rain of the one thing that sets you apart from the rest of the GP2 field could really shake things up there in GP2. And as Matt Guyver says in the chat, a good group of GP2 cars this weekend. Really looking forward to these production races tomorrow and Sunday. So we turn our attention towards tomorrow. 9 o'clock a.m. to kick things off for our first enduro of the weekend. 8 hours of racing to come, 9 to 5, your regular 9 to 5. Challenging weather conditions, some thunderstorms potentially tonight. If you're down in the paddock and listening to this, make sure you secure down as much as you can, please. I think we're in for a little bit of it tonight and into tomorrow morning. Do anticipate being able to go racing at 9 o'clock, though, and certainly that's our plan here at the World Racing League and on DriversEye Live. do 8 hours nonstop tomorrow. Sunday, we'll do it all again at 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll run 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock and wrap up with our 7-hour finale. The weekend that makes up the second event anyway, of the 2025 Midwest Championship, the third event on the national calendar for the World Racing League. Ryan, any thoughts? I know you're not going to get to join us tomorrow.
I'm not.
Much appreciated covering the SCCA Super Tour this weekend for us on DriversEye Live.
Indeed.
Any thoughts? Anything you would want to look forward to with our 15 hours of racing to come this weekend from Mid-Ohio?
It's the rain, and if I know anything about how WRL works, the rain is not going to last the entirety of the race.
Yeah,
it's going
rarely
to come
does.
for like an hour and then go away. And so I believe when the rain comes is going to be really important in your tire decision. So if the track is wet at the start, which I think it will be, are you going to go for the wet tire, or are you going to gamble on the dry tire? And then if it rains later in the day, are you going to be ice skating? Or are you going to start on the wet tire, wear it out, and hope you can stretch it to when the rain does eventually come? That's going to be the strategy wrinkle that I'm curious about with regards to how the pit stops shake out, all those sorts of things. And then also, with regards to pit stops, if you're in the rain, you're saving fuel.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of strategy angles to play here, and I think Scott Michaels is going to be the right man for the job to suss out all of those possibilities.
Yeah. Make it very clear whether or not you're making the right call.
Yes, absolutely.
But it does
and
throw...
he'll tell the teams as well.
Right. It does definitely throw the wrinkle into things, and some unknowns there, right, in terms of fuel consumption and just how much fuel you're likely to be using in the rain. Of course, nothing stays consistent in the World Racing League, so you expect, as the track gets quicker, you use a little bit more fuel. Does anybody gamble and try and push further, out towards an hour and a half, 45, 2 hours? We've seen some pretty crazy things here at Mid-Ohio in the past, to include races in the snow, 2.5-hour stints, GP2 cars leading overall. It all happens on occasion, and it all happens in the World Racing League. So we'll be back with you on DriversEye Live, as we said, just about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's when we get our green flag. We'll be live a couple of minutes before that. The sun just begins to peek through from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. For Ryan West and for Jordan Worth on the ones and the twos, for Layla Kazmarek, who's up here in the booth at World Racing League and at DriversEye Live on Instagram this weekend. My name is Brendan Kazmarek. Join us tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, for the green flag in round number 3 of the 2025 World Racing League season from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Till then, take care.